Hello and welcome to another automation car build where today I've built a Buick Regal GNX rival. The Buick Grand National, the ultra fast V6 muscle car with a turbocharger. I decided to build a car sort of competing against this, or competing against it. This is a year before actually, so I don't know, we'll make up some story about how I found Intel from McLaren or something developing a new modified V6 or something for a Buick, I don't know. We'll think about making it all make sense later. Anyway, yeah, point is car. All steel basically. We could have gone partial aluminium. We could do that. I think I may do. Didn't realise that was available. Yeah, we're definitely going to go with that. This is a bit more high-tech than the Buick. Well, just a bit. Double wishbone all around. I think the Buick had that. Well, obviously steel, monocoque chassis. Pretty sure that was standard, but yeah. Pretty sure the Buick, or wouldn't surprise me if the Buick was all steel. Anyway, yeah. Here's the engine. 3 litre V6. Completely square too. 86 by 86. That's unusual for me. Usually I have wildly varying bore and stroke, but yeah, I spent a lot of time trying to get the right 0 to 60 time down, and well, between the time I built the car and this video I'm now recording, the game's had an update, so all that time I spent tuning has now gone to waste. So I mean, I briefly tried to fix it, but yeah, it certainly becomes slightly harder to balance out stats, and I think sort of it's a bit hard to make really fast cars now. But well, a little harder at least. But yeah, dual overhead cam, 4 valves a cylinder, so really high tech, all aluminium. This is it's a very high tech engine with forged internals. Yeah, you know, they're all kind of necessary. I mean, I think we are revving it, yeah, right to the limit. That's just in an attempt to try and get 0 to 60 down as far as possible. Really low compression ratio, sort of above average cam profile. Like, I mean, like 50 is usually sort of where you go for like economy cars, really. Like, you know, maybe if you've got like a larger than average engine, you go slightly lower. So yeah, fairly sporty engine, 325 horsepower, which is, I mean, especially considering the time period, that's rather good, I'd argue. And yeah, turbochargers, I mean, we are running over a bar of boost, like the Buick. The Buick, I believe, ran, was it 1.2 bar of boost? Actually, it may have just been 1 bar, I can't remember. But yeah, it had a decent amount of boost. So yeah, I tried to compete with that. Multi-point fuel injection with throttle per cylinder. Obviously, I went with a standard intake, trying to get comfort up a bit, because the Buick is a luxury car. That's what lots of people seem to forget. It had a 4-speed automatic, I'm pretty sure, as the only option you could have with it. So yeah, I went with a manual for mine, but yeah, I sort of get it. But I sort of, yeah, needed to get comfort up a bit to sort of make a rival rather than just a sort of sports coupe. So yeah, again, reverse flow, and I went with a straight through on the second muffler because, well, if I went with a reverse flow, no, that doesn't actually hurt the stats as much as I expected, as much as I thought it did. Maybe they've toned that down a bit, because I remember that used to really hurt it, and now, hey, we can actually make another adjustment. Probably mess around with this a bit, I don't know. I could probably spend hours here. Yeah, if we lean out the fuel mixture, there we go. Right, that's. I mean, we've lost a bit of power and torque, but I don't know. I still care quite a lot about MPG. We are running on regular fuel. I believe that's what the Buick would have ran on. seeing as it was 1980s America. Yeah, you can see everything here. Exhaust slightly limited now. In fact, so if we widen it, we could probably claw back some power. Just about, but I think it gets to the point where we'll just lose it all again, and I don't want to get. Never mind. I do have. I have dual exhaust. I thought I went single to reduce weight lots. Because yeah, there we go. Massive single exhaust. Basically, because I want to keep this engine as light as possible. Under 190 kilograms was my goal in the end. Sort of, I think originally it was around like 200, and I just kept like lowering the bore until I got it to under 190, and I was pretty happy with that. So yeah, and there are many issues with this. Well, according to the game, I don't think they actually are issues. One thing I did notice, that number plate for some reason is wrong. There we go, fix that, and yeah, that. Anyway, styling wise, sort of went with a fairly aggressive looking sort of bodywork. Sort of a bit more muscular, I'd argue, than the Buick. The Buick was rather, it was more of a sleeper, whereas this, I mean, it's sort of a bit more obvious, you know, the spoiler, the big obvious exhaust, the vents on the back, and the bonnet scoop. But I'm okay with that. You know, it looks good. So yeah, we've got a 5-speed manual. The Buick does 0 to 60 in something ridiculous like 4.7 seconds. The best I got was down to 5 seconds, and then I had to update the game. So yeah, sort of 5.3. I can get down to 5.2, but that seriously hurts the stats. Mainly just because wheel spin is such an issue. Like, there we go. I managed to make drivability jump up quite a lot there. So yeah, big issue was just sort of trying to find the right gear ratios. Top speed of 150 though, way higher than the Buick's. Something like I don't know, it's 129, I think it is, something like that. 305 tyres on the rear and 285s on the front. Those are huge for 1980s. Like, probably be sort of about the same size as like Lamborghini Countach's and stuff. So you know, it's yeah, it's certainly it's not it's certainly sort of advanced for the time period, and 18-inch wheels, which would probably be some of the biggest sort of just on sale. Yeah, vented discs all around. Trying to keep the brakes cool, reduce brake fade. It does get stopped really quickly in 28 meters or 28.6 meters from 100 kilometers an hour. That's and no, I'd say that's pretty good. Thanks to those massive tires, obviously. I did go with a bit of wing angle on it to sort of help with cornering speed. Because, well, obviously I want to make it corner quickly. 4 seats, premium, everything. When we're 8-track, not a cassette, because look at the price of cassettes. It's, you know, 4 times the price for, I wouldn't, yeah, not really 4 times the bonus, but there we go. Also, prestige is ridiculously high on this car. Fair enough. We did go with variable hydraulic power steering and ABS. Not sure if the Buick had those. And then standard 80 safety, which, you know, I'd imagine is, you know, probably about on par. But yeah, in the corners, this thing, I mean, it's good by today's standards, so, you know, it would absolutely annihilate the Buick most likely. From what I've seen in like various reviews, apparently the Buick had too much power for the chassis to actually cope. So yeah, I don't think I've got that issue here, as you can see, especially since well, I've got an LSD as well. Yeah, actually the Buick's tuned by McLaren, so maybe that would have one too, I'm not sure. And then yeah, progressive and gas monotube with passive sway bars. I did look into getting air suspension. Believe it hurt the 0 to 60 time, but yeah, I suppose it matters less. But it really hurts MPG there. I suppose that's sort of irrelevant when we can make it so that much better. Yeah, I look at things from sort of European sort of ways of building cars, which is small, light, and efficient. And I mean, I've tried to apply those sort of things with a big 1980s muscle car. You know, with the sort of trying to focus a bit on fuel economy and then not really caring, and yeah, trying to make it handle as good as possible. Yeah, it's yeah, it should be very good. I know, with a 30% markup, I suppose with the things we've changed, it's now at $30,000. I believe the Buick was something like $29,000. So, you know, $1,000 more than the Buick, but I don't know. I think you get a lot more car. Like the Buick in a straight line will beat it just about. Quarter mile time of 13.6 seconds. I believe the Buick. I know I've heard various sources. Some say as low as under 13 seconds. Others say sort of about 13.4 or something like that. It's in this sort of area. But I think the Buick is in general slightly faster. But yeah, I'm pretty sure around the track I can out-corner it any day. Speaking of which, let's see how it does on the Top Gear test track. And there we go, a lap time of 1 minute 23.6, which, you know, that's, I know this this layout seems to be slightly shorter, as sort of not so quick cars can seem to go a lot quicker than their real life counterparts. I mean, obviously this is taking like the perfect line or whatever, but you know, still does seem to be the test track here is slightly shorter, but still, that's an impressive time, especially considering this is a car from the 1980s, which can keep up with some modern day super saloons, you know. So overall, I'm quite happy with the way it goes, and I mean, slightly A86 inspired paint job. I mean, it's 1980s, two-tone was in, okay. Also, yeah, white and black is sort of my thing, so actually that's sort of because of an A86, but yeah, I suppose I've gone full circle really. Anyway, yeah, thank you for watching, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and until next video, goodbye.